Hello, everybody. Adam Parks here with another episode of Receivables Roundtable. Today, I'm here joined with Nancy Hughes. Nancy is an industry veteran who has spent a lot of time building different organizations and consulting and learning really quite a bit. I feel like every conversation I have with Nancy, I learn something new, and looking forward to learning something new today. For those of you that don't know Nancy, you may have talked with her on the membership committee for the Receivables Management Association International, where she is a very active participant. But Nancy, what have you been up to lately?
The loaded question, Adam. Just living the dream. Thank you so much for inviting me to this forum. It's always a pleasure to talk with you, and I've enjoyed the last few that I've seen on your site. It's great. So what have I been up to lately? Like all of us, pivoting our businesses, right?
Sure.
My partner, Bob Picone, and I are consultants in the industry, and both owned our own consulting firms, and started working together about 3 or 4 years ago. He was doing consulting at a bank and asked me to run the debt sale. So we started working together, and what can I say, a match made in heaven. We never looked back, and we formally aligned this year and rebranded under Connect1. So 2020 has been a exciting year, exponential growth, which we feel incredibly blessed, hoping that 2021 continues that. So during COVID, it was interesting because when it first hit, I said to Bob, we really should reach out to our clients and see what can we do to help. Everybody's in scramble mode, and we're sitting back as consultants and thinking, okay, how can we assist our clients just to offer them some assistance? And out of that came a project that was unexpected and has kept us extremely busy. It was a very large organization, financial institution, and they were looking for help because some of their Philippines and India sites that they do their customer care work, BPO work, were not able to transition to work at home as quickly as they needed. And so they came to us and asked us to assist them. So Bob and I, obviously, we match clients with vendors. So we have several, large BPOs that we work with. And I come from a BPO background in addition to the accounts receivable. So we really molded over and decided to kind of work with a very boutique firm that we'd done a lot of collection work with, but not a lot of BPO work, and decided to help them transition into a BPO. And in a very short amount of time, they were rock stars. I won't say we all didn't work 18 hours a day and are still working at least 12, but it was extremely successful. And we knew we were signing on for a very short-term project, but we needed to ramp up hundreds of agents, 24/7 hours of operation in doing voice, non-voice, back office, chat, tech support, social media, you name it, we were handling it. And they had 12 lines of business. So needless to say, it was very complex. 12 lines of business and about 8 different CRMs. So it was crazy. And
tech to be trying to coordinate.
And they did it. And we were fortunate enough to be invited to, gave us a little bit of clout. And we were invited for the RFP, the big BPO RFP that they had anticipated doing in 2020 anyway, before all of this happened. So because of our success in that short-term project, we were awarded out of, probably 20 different companies. We were awarded the contract, and we're in the middle of ramping that up now. So we are going to be in 4 different geos, and we are assisting them in even expanding further. We're working on a call center in Africa for them, expanding to Latin America, and then we have the Philippines, Mexico, of course the US. Several of the projects for this company are US only, and they won't allow offshoring. So we're using offshore when we need to and when it's allowed, but a lot of it is US. So I've been busy.
Well, what a time to be a consultant, right? Especially as everybody is going into, the COVID environment where nobody knew what to expect, and new challenges were rising on a daily basis. So, having people like you on their team, I'm sure, was a godsend, because nobody ever really envisioned this as a global pandemic, right? Like we've all of our disaster recovery plans, or most of us had disaster recovery plans that were like, oh, okay, well, if things go wrong here, then we'll ship our calls to X, Y, or Z country. But wasn't really the case this time around. So, what would you say were one of the bigger challenges that you faced, kind of taking a group that had a debt collection mind frame and turning them or transforming that organization into more of a customer service oriented group?
Fortunately, because the industry's changed so much in the last decade, um, that everybody's trained as customer care, right? I mean, every collection agency we work with, I'm sure you work with, and the debt buyers we all work with, everybody has a customer care approach. And I really had to convince the client that, collectors probably have the most complex customer care job there is. I mean, you are dealing with people in a very vulnerable situation in their life, and you need to figure out a way to create options for them and solutions for them, right? A typical customer care is I'm calling in because I need a refund, or I want to change my address, or my credit card got stolen or lost. Those are much easier care conversations to have than a collection. So it really wasn't as difficult a transition as I thought it would be. I think honestly, the most difficult for us was the short term part of this, right? You're hiring hundreds of agents with knowing they're going to be out of the job in 90 days.
Mhm.
At the same time, the stimulus hit and unemployment, was up dramatically, but also the pay was up dramatically. So we had a tough time of convincing them it was smart to work as opposed to stay at home, was a little bit of what we were struggling with. And not everybody, but we were fortunate, had a very good, solid workforce to draw from. And work at home, has been extremely successful. As I know, a lot of the companies I talk to in the industry, they've been pleasantly surprised
Sure.
that home agents are quite productive. So I would say the hardest part was convincing the client that collectors can be customer service agents.
Well, it definitely seems like a unique challenge, right? And unique times call for unique challenges. So finding those opportunities and kind of working your way through it. So I have to go back to, to one of the statements that you had made about the 8 CRM systems. How do you even begin to unravel such a complex problem?
Honestly, I have never had more respect for technology groups than I do today.
Okay.
Um, and he is a young go-getter, techie, I call him, and he just came in and just made it work. Hired a great team to help him and assist him in that management of all of those CRMs and which agents are on which CRM and servicing which product lines.
Hmm.
And it was very complex, but these guys, I think that's the entrepreneurial spirit that I love about them. And I think it's why Bob and I chose that particular company
Hmm.
to work with and transition, is that's their attitude. They roll up their sleeves, they get things done. I love that about people, and I'm an entrepreneur at heart. So, they were willing to do whatever it took to get it done. That we did, we definitely went out and hired some people that had expertise in certain CRMs that they were not, familiar with, and brought those people in, which helped dramatically shorten the training cycle. But what I found interesting in the whole process, and we talk about it a lot, is I've been through, as you have, negotiations that take months and months and months with a very large, 2 billion plus corporation, right?
Sure.
We signed a contract in 3 weeks.
Wow. That is,
With,
especially under that environment and all of the new stress that was being introduced. That's phenomenal.
and
Um,
it shows you that we can get things done much quicker than we think we can. I
I
found
think
it,
a
I
common
found
mindset.
right. So
Sure.
it was good to see people like move forward quickly.
If you've got two groups with a common mindset and an immediate sense of urgency, I think you can get things done very quickly. It's when one group doesn't have a sense of urgency or doesn't really see the true value of the opportunity in front of them. And I mean, I've definitely experienced a lot of that during this COVID situation, and just kind of keeping an eye on things, or going into different projects. And there was a time period there where everything was a hurry up and wait. Everybody wanted everything right now, but we're not actually going to do anything with it for a couple of weeks at least. Then I want to say it was probably August, September, things really started to pick back up again, and I started to see more opportunities and people getting back to executing. And it might have been a confidence level. I'm not really sure what the adjustment was there, but I've seen a little bit of it myself. So as you've been going through this process, and as you've been working with this new group and facing these new challenges, what would you say is the biggest thing that you kind of learned about yourself going through this process?
About myself is to believe in my gut instinct. I know what it takes to get things done,
Mhm.
and just do them. I think one thing this pandemic has taught me tremendously is that we're all on the same level.
Mhm.
We're all dealing with the exact same situation. So it's created almost a true partnership that, it's almost like neighbor helping neighbor. And, what can we do to assist? I mean, yes, we're all in business and we all are in business to make money, but we're also all in business to do things right. And at the end of the day, the client didn't want the consumer to suffer. When they can't get the calls answered, they create, it's very frustrating on the consumer side. And I think it's just created this incredible partnership. And, to not underestimate myself, that's what I've learned. I'm like, okay, somebody says you can't do that. We're going to ramp up 1,000-person seats and in 4 different geos, and we're going to do it fast. So
Wow.
it's been exciting and challenging, but I've learned a lot.
And on an organization that size, how many of those people do you have working from home, on a percentage basis?
So it's going to be over the next couple of years that we'll ramp up significantly. But for the short-term project, we had several hundred, and all of them work from home.
That has got to bring some unique challenges in and of itself. So just to kind of recap, you guys were assisting an organization in kind of pivoting themselves from the collections to the BPO space, while ramping up new employees, while having all of those employees work from home.
Yes.
I can imagine the training classes, or putting together how to handle that training process remotely was probably quite a challenge in and of itself.
And the group that we chose to partner with on this, that have just, like I said, I can't say enough good things about them. They're true rock stars. It's a little frustrating because you should be doing training of 20 to 25 people, and there were training classes of 50. So
Remote training classes of 50.
it was a bit chaotic, but their director of training, he's an ex-military guy, so nothing really stresses him out, so to speak, and he just rolled with it and made it work. And I'm not going to say there weren't bumps in the road.
Sure.
I'm not going to say everything was perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but at the end of the day, we did it, and we were invited back to do this RFP, which we would have never been invited to do. Like, had we not provided that 90-day Band-Aid, I'll call it, and done it very successfully, we would have never been invited back, because we were up against all the globals. I mean, the big guys. And, so it was a David and Goliath story, and, we won. And so it's been fun. It's been really fun. And I'm so proud of the team, and Bob and I shake our heads some days and knock on wood, because feeling pretty full of gratitude these days in a crazy situation.
Yeah, and pretty accomplished too, because taking on a project like this in this environment, I mean, really does take the expertise in being a consultant. And I know when I first kind of started moving into the consultant side of the world, I'll never forget, and I won't drop the name, but somebody in the industry pointed to me and said, well, that's just what you're going to call yourself when you're unemployed. And I said, no, I don't think you understand what consulting is, or what we're capable of doing, because to me it's a methodology behind how you execute on things, and it's how you dissect a problem, it's how you execute on a problem, and it's how you make things happen. And for me, I learned a lot of that from having an opportunity to work with looking at the different ways in which you would dissect a problem, put together an actionable plan, and then go out and execute on it. And that's when I started to realize, after working with you, like the true value of consultancy in this space, because not everybody's an expert on everything. And I think, at least in my experience, your expertise has been that ability to break down these complex problems and then come up with those specific steps by which you could take action to accomplish the end goal. And so, I think you guys do a phenomenal job with that. And, everybody that I've talked with that you guys have been working with has really had nothing but amazing things to say about how you guys execute.
Well, I appreciate that, Adam. And, I think look at what you've done with your business. So, hats off to you. Success and consulting is, I don't know what people, in my word, consulting is basically, like you say, figuring out what is the issue, right? What's your pain point? And let us figure out a path to get a solution to that pain point, whatever that looks like. And that's how we view things, but very hands-on. We don't take steps back. We're involved every step of the way, and really truly try to be the partner that we want to be from both the client. I mean, it's a tough line, as you know, right? It's this fine line that you're balancing. It's a balancing act between your client and your partner in the process, right? And so this, the group that we chose to do this project with and the client, we're the in between. And
Sure.
we have to wear both hats, and it has to be successful for both sides. Has to be a win-win, or it's not worth it to anybody. So.
Yeah, and it's about being able to find that balance, and like I said, being able to execute on the minute things. The other thing that people I think don't often look at when it comes to consultancy is the fact that you have to be knowledgeable about every product and solution available in the market space, because you never know what you're going to come up against, and you never know when you're going to need that solution on the fly to be able to connect this dialer to that system, or this merchant processor to that system of record, or whatever the case may be. And I think that you guys have done a really great job of kind of mapping that out for yourselves, and then being able to walk into a consulting opportunity and assist them with basically navigating the waters of, what might be 101 for some people is really a complex problem when you've been doing things a certain way for a long time. And I think the flexibility that you guys have shown, both you and Bob, has been great. And you guys are definitely the style of consultant that rolls with the punches and finds the solution and just starts to work the problem. And I love having the conversations with you post-project, right? When we get to do a post-project debrief as just two consultants coming together at a conference or whatever, I always feel like I'm learning something from the approach that you guys have taken on a particular project. And to be perfectly frank, I'm looking forward to seeing you at the RMAI conference in February so that we can sit down and kind of catch up on all the crazy different projects that we've been executing on for the last year.
I am looking forward to it, Adam, and I will absolutely be there. When I heard Jan speaking at was it the NCBA?
Yeah.
Yes, and announced that it was definitely live with a virtual component. I was so excited because I don't know about everybody else, but I'm just feeling, like, I don't know, fear of being left out or whatever you want to call it. I want to be there. I mean, there's nothing like face-to-face. I've done a little bit of business travel. I think we talked about that over the last month, and it's been really good to be out on the road a little bit again and, meeting clients face-to-face. There's nothing like it. I mean, there's just really, honestly, nothing like it. So I plan on, bringing my multitude of masks that I own. That's now my new accessory to the outfits, and I will be there. So we'll definitely look forward to catching up.
I absolutely love it. I had the chance to go out to the ARI recently and take a look at the hotel and some of the things that we're going to be doing differently in 2021. I'm very excited to be back on the road. I'm excited to see everybody again and get back to business as normal, which is my full expectation in 2021. So any parting words or any additional insights that you'd like to share with our viewers today?
No, I can't think of any. I actually have to get back to work, but
I can definitely hear that.
I'm honored to be a part of this. So thank you so much for asking me.
Of
And
course.
I look
Absolutely.
forward to talking again soon, and certainly seeing you at RMAI.
No question about it. For those of you that are watching, if you have any additional topics that you'd like to see us cover, any guests that you'd like to see us interview, please comment below. I'm sure both Nancy and I will be manning the LinkedIn thread below this video to answer any questions that you might have. You can feel free to reach out to her, myself directly with any questions, and very much looking forward to the next one. So thanks, Nancy, and thank you everybody for watching today.
All right. Stay healthy. Bye-bye.